They didn't want their case screwed with. As a prosecutor for 29 years that worked for 2 different county prosecutors, I get it. But guess what? It doesn't change the law. It doesn't change the statute of limitations. I know you took a vote already to continue this matter. I'm asking you, don't. Don't shirk your responsibilities. Don't abstain. Don't vote present. Vote to dismiss this action against Mr. Borges.
Okay, are there any questions of the respondent? A little bit out of order here. Should have been second with the complainant like to present.
Thank you.
That was my will, but that is not happening. Sorry, go ahead.
So the letter from the secretary was to address all matters regarding these complaints today, and I don't believe it's in the need for this commission for me to read it again. So not hearing that being requested, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Katz. Okay, are there?
I'd just like to confirm there, you don't have any further statements, witnesses or anything else to present today?
Thank you, Mr. Kirshner. So I would wholeheartedly disagree with some of the statements that have been made about the lack of evidence being presented to this commission. I am in total agreement with counsel who just represented the lack of inaction on this case. There is authority for this commission to investigate complaints. Our office sent a letter to the commission on June of 2021, seeking that you use your statutory authority to hire investigative attorneys to go and investigate the complaint. Since that time,
Mr. Katz, the question was, do you have any witnesses to present today? That's the simple question.
Thank you. And as I was saying, we asked you to do so. Since that didn't happen, we have then since submitted a voluminous record from the federal trial. And so the evidence that was in the testimony that was already presented to that has been presented to this commission. And so there is the underlying evidence to support the allegations that were made against Mr. Householder. No further testimony would go beyond what was already presented in that federal trial, and so wasn't necessary to present today. Thank you.
Any other questions, the commission members?
I have a question of the executive director.
Go ahead.
Could you remind us the November of 23, I assume was a preliminary review that council referred to?
Preliminary review, yes.
Okay. And we decided to
Set the matter for hearing.
Okay.
That was the, essential finding at that time by the commission.
and I guess why did it take so long to have the actual?
First off, I knew it was going to take some time to actually hear it, but then we had other matters that I set for hearing. And, considering the time that it took for us to go through those other hearings that were set, this one got put behind those cases. The Schmidt case and the Stewart matters were set. We had some other big hearings as well that were pending. And so, those were set by a preliminary review prior to the 2023 date. These matters were set, and so I had those other hearings go forward first.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion? I'm so sorry, yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to belabor a
Yes.
point. But for the record, my name is Brian Sullivan. I represent Partners for Progress. And in addition to all the other reasons why I think dismissal is appropriate, I did want to renew our response that we had submitted in October of 2023, seeking dismissal of the charges against the claim violations against Partners for Progress. The predicate for the complaint was the federal court complaint and the FBI affidavit. In neither of those documents, Partners for Progress was mentioned. And so we urged the commission back in 2023 to consider dismissal of the charges on that basis. Then I will say, in addition to setting it for hearing, which we're here on today, the commission did dismiss a number of charges against a number of the respondents. As it relates to Partners for Progress, 6 of the charges were dismissed as a consequence of that preliminary review. So there's only 3 remaining. Those are paragraphs 100, 101, and 103. But we would simply ask that this commission to consider the fact that we are here today for a hearing, that there's been no additional evidence that's been presented specifically as it relates to Partners for Progress, that the commission consider dismissing Partners for Progress from this complaint. Thank you.
The complainant have any additional insights in regards to that statement?
Reading the final paragraph again. So while prosecution of crimes may no longer be an option in these matters, the commission still retains its finding authority. Therefore, I urge you to bring these matters to a conclusion today by levying the appropriate fines commensurate with the gravity of the violations. Thank you very much.
And in the secretary's office, what would that levied fine amount be?
Same as all other complaints, we don't typically give a recommendation for a specific fine amount. We leave that up to your discretion to make the appropriate fine amount in the cases.
I think historically we've heard recommendations from your office.
Respectfully, we don't make dollar amount fine amounts. We either object or don't object to the executive director's recommendation. We don't tend to, or almost, I don't think I've ever given an actual dollar amount for a recommended fine.
Any additional questions?
I'll just make one comment overall. I think that the comments of the commissioner are well taken. This has become a politicized issue. At the same time, we must be candid that, my comment was that this hadn't shown up on the agenda since I was appointed in the spring of 2024. It is unfortunate at a minimum that this issue hasn't been raised, hasn't been placed on the agenda, hasn't been addressed in that intervening time period. I am frustrated as I sit here that this has become such a contentious issue, and some of the commissioners were not even aware that it was a pending matter before the commission. So I know that the commission is well-intentioned. Chair Tavares did a wonderful job when she was chair. In my first year, Mr. Richter has done a commendable job as the executive director. At the same time, it is at a minimum frustrating. This issue wasn't raised at the commission during the entirety of the time that I've been appointed thus far. As to what we do going forward, we'll see how that plays out. But I think that there's at least some credence to that position.
So are there any additional comments or is there a motion? Perhaps there aren't any questions or comments. Phil, having heard anything that you've heard today, does your recommendation as issued at the beginning of these 2 hearings change or fluctuate in any way based off the information that's been presented or the discussions that have been had?
No, like I said, it was a reluctant recommendation, but I'm sticking with my recommendation to dismiss.
Madam Chair, Mr. Richter, can you explain what the reluctance is?
I mean, my preference is that it would have been to have these matters actually fully heard. and certainly the commission could still do so. We've obviously set the other matter forward already. But I just feel like we were placed in an untenable situation. The federal trial took such a lengthy period of time, no surprise, that it extended any kind of deliberations that we could make beyond the statute of limitations. That the commission is faced with, and so we find ourselves in a situation. You could certainly, I will subject myself to criticism for having not had this matter moved forward. There were other matters that the commission heard in the intervening period. This one didn't get set, but I just feel like, regardless of now that it's 2025, I think you could potentially look back and say 2023, I probably should have made a recommendation at that time to dismiss for the pendency of the statute of limitations, or at least that is a reasonable criticism that could be posed toward what I did at that time. But, I said, recommended we set them out forward. It is sat here. And now we're in a situation where it's well past period of time. Mr. Sims even indicated, some of the matters obviously started 2016, 2017, 18, which would have been prior to the filings of the original matters. But, we're in a situation where now we're far enough down the road. I just feel like trying to resolve these matters is beyond what the statute of limitations would allow.
Thank you very much. Given the nature of the reluctance being in the statute of limitations, if that were not the case, what parties would you feel impressed upon you be called, and what fines would you feel appropriate for the
It
violations?
would be hard to assess fines, or for me to assess a determination of what fine amount. But all the other parties were retained, because it would then be a matter of, okay, what evidence is there as it relates to each of the respondents and what they did as it relates to the allegations pending before us. Some of the allegations, I'm guessing at least, as it relates to, let's say, not that I'm trying to pick on anybody, but Mr. Longstress, Mr. Cespedes, let's say Mr. Borges, would have to do more with less the campaign finance filing activities than some of the other activities relating to 351722 and 359903. And then you have all the various other organizations that were included in here. It would be a matter of what evidence there is to substantiate that they had any, or what their involvement was in these circumstances before assessing what a fine amount could be. And as it related to Mr. Householder, you again have the personal use issues and some of the improper contributions, concealing misrepresented contributions, given, received, etc. Those could certainly come into play as well for all parties that were before us, depending on what was able to be proved.
Yeah, I think we continue to remain in a difficult place as the commissioners, as we've not had testimony or evidence presented in front of us. So, I mean, my will and desire would be to continue the case until we can have those things provided to us by the parties that are alleging that we have this case in front of us. But I'm very interested in the body and what this commission would like to do. And if there's any additional commentary or questions, I can. Not, I'm going to grant a continuance, as we're kind of at a stop log here, that we would have a fuller hearing. Okay. That's where we are. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Okay. All right, and now that we're all feeling super merry, I think the only other item of business here is our next meeting, but I would like to just make a comment. Due to the Sunsetting West Commission. We don't have that many more meetings together. But we will have meetings in December. So it's the will of the commission to gather and just have a, a Christmas party of some sorts or a holiday gathering. Just let me know, maybe offline, if you would like to do breakfast or lunch.
Madam Chair, my recommendation would be the commissioner from having that job. Spend time apartment and hearing to kind of get together, if it would be appropriate. I would enjoy it. I would be for us to get together outside of the hearing from what we've typically done for the last several years. That's not permission,
Okay.
especially with the, it's not happening anymore. But yeah.
Very good. So, would that be preferred as a breakfast prior to or a dinner thereafter? Is there something that makes sense for everybody?
I like the dinner thereafter. For me, thinking for me, not midnight.
Okay.
But I also, Madam Chair, did we approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, that was done at the
Okay.
beginning.
I'm sorry. So okay,
Okay.
all right. Anyone else?
Okay. Again, we're in the need of restoration of Being Mary, so, why don't we go ahead and move to close anything for today, unless you had some comments about.
I would just have a comment, and Phil would have to fill us in on this, but on the sunshine law, I think it would be appropriate to do it after our last meeting.
Yeah.
And that way we're closed out and we're not gonna do any more business. And
Yeah.
they can't come back on us and say we're in violation of the sunshine law.
Absolutely.
That's all.
A written letter. I would like to suggest, and I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the schedule, but I don't know the meetings that we have for December, and just so that I'm being transparent, I leave the country on December 22nd. And so our last two meetings in December will be prior to that.
The 4th and the 18th.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. the-
All right. All right, very good. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we adjourn today's meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passed unanimously. Thank you. All right, all.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
A wonderful fall evening.
Hopefully there's still some colorful